there, this is Christoph from DataBridge. It's my first video since I joined from Qlik, and I promise that I will post more videos to my channel. I'll keep it active. And this time I would like to share some of my work I did around a mashup for a Swiss customer of mine. And I don't want to claim this whole mashup for myself, so there was quite some work already done based on Bootstrap, but I kind of made the whole thing dynamic. And I had to use two, I would say, little-known APIs, and this is what I would like to show you. It's the personal Qrs API and the personal Qps API. So let me show you. Well, you may ask, what is the personal Qps and Qrs API? Usually those APIs exist on separate ports and you need to open them and to authenticate yourself with the certificates. So it's 4243 by default for the QPS and 4242 for the Qrs API. The APIs that I am talking about are just responding on the normal HTTPS port. So they are responding on /QPS and /QRS. Okay, let me show you the mashup first. If I go through the login, it takes me to an external identity provider, comes back via SAML authentication. And when I'm back at Qlik, I'm already logged in as a user. And usually the user doesn't need the hub. It just goes to this mashup. It took 1 to 2 seconds to open the right app for me, and this is completely made dynamic. So going from here, I have different subpages, and the mashup decided which app it has to load behind my mashup. So what does this mean? On my server, I have a template app, and this app has many children or siblings, and this app is tagged with a custom property show in mashup, and the owner of the app is set to the user who logged in. So actually this makes this app the right one for the mashup to decide. I also put this here in the console. It says that's me, and I'll talk about this in a second. And then it says, this is the app for the mashup to use, and it finds exactly one app to use. So how is this done? That is the personal QPS API, and it's directly accessible in the browser even under /QPS. If you're on the main proxy, you would go like this. But here I'm logged in as a different user, so pay attention. It's not the user I'm here. This is on the virtual proxy SafeNet. I am the user demo with this username, and this is my user directory. And the second API that I had to query is the personal QRS API. So the QRS API, to say Qrs App and full, I have to just stick to one rule. You need to set the HTTP header in order to use this endpoint. Well, HTTP header in the browser can only be achieved if you use a browser header modifier tool. So I'm using mod header for Chrome extension, and if I set this header, then I'll get a whole list of apps that I'm allowed to see in just ugly JSON format, but this is best used, of course, for an API. So, and this is exactly what I was doing here. Let me turn off the header again so that I can show you in the network what's going on here. And here you can see the full request. And I'm also adding a long filter. So this get app endpoint distinguishes between /app or /app full, which just delivers even more details. And then you can put a filter. And the nice thing is this filter can be set on any attribute that the response string knows. If you, for example, want to get an app with a certain name, for example, name equals license monitor, and you submit this, you get exactly this app back, and it gives you all the information around the app you need to know, in which stream it is published, the owner of it, the custom properties, if any, and so on. So all I had to do is actually to phrase a combination of filters into that call and get exactly one app back. Now I show you how the source code in the mashup looks like. And here is the part of the mashup that does that get my app. So basically this returns a promise, and I'm using jQuery in an asynchronous mode to wait for the result of these two calls. So here is doAjax, and doAjax is really just a simple call to the Ajax method of jQuery. So it makes this call and waits for the full list, and it adds the filter. And here's the filter. I'm using owner.userid equals that's me.userid. And remember, this that's me is coming from the personal Qps API. This is my user ID and my user directory that this particular user has got. And then I'm using the definition.name of the custom property that is hard-coded, show in mashup, and the value needs to equal this mashup. And this mashup is just a string between extension slash and the next slash. So this little part here, it tells me the mashup that I'm in. So I've made this pretty generic and pretty simple to reuse, because all I need to do if I'm setting up a new customer is go to my QMC and get the right app. Let's assume it's this one. I change the owner to the user, and I set the custom property show in mashup to the right mashup. And with these two conditions, when this user logs in, this particular app will be picked behind the mashup. Of course, the app design needs to fit with all its objects ID into the mashup, but since I'm creating all my apps based on the same template, this is the case. So I hope I could give you some new hints and tips working with mashups, and wish you a good time with Qlik Sense and its integration capabilities.